Hi guys, good to see you guys. I'm excited for. I always say lesson because I teach lessons online all the time, and that's normally when I'm on camera. Not a lesson, our stream, our live stream. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the opportunity that we have to be able to hang out every morning. So thank you guys for this fun opportunity. I feel like I need to be a little bit better about getting on time because I'm in 5 to 10 minutes late, which is not ideal, um, especially when it's only 30 minutes. But I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited for this today. So yesterday we went through and we kind of pinned down what I still needed to be drawing and painting for my book because it is an alphabet book that is specifically yeah, but let's go for it, shall we? So going for we're going for all the things on this list. So we are down to, I counted it yesterday, like 40 drawings. So we've done like 20 something. I didn't realize it's going to be that many illustrations, but really, I don't think there's a faster way to do this, unfortunately. So let's do it. It is funny though, because like a couple weeks ago when I started on this project, there was like a tiny part of me that was like, so I'm like purposely designing this. This could be like a baby book. I wanted it to be like a board book. One, I'm realizing it's probably not a board book, like probably not board book material. Mostly because the length, where I feel like board books typically need to be a little bit on the shorter side. But the poem ended up being a lot longer than I originally had planned. So I don't know if it's going to be short enough to be first to be a board book, but also I don't know if it's going to be short enough to be able to, yeah. So we're gonna still illustrate the whole thing and do the whole thing because yeah, my plan is that like most of it is done in that watercolory thing because like that's what we're going for, right? Kind of that style. I've been especially working on these like technical drawings, which I'm very happy with how those have turned out. So yay! So we're getting through the obvious ones. So now I need to be working on the less obvious drawings. So let's go through the list. Let's figure out what we're going to be doing today. Because, yeah, like I said, we still have like 40 something illustrations left. So I think this morning, let's maybe work on some up close string type. So there's kind of like maybe a circle of fifths. As like a technical drawing. Although I feel like I just don't have the space. I'm gonna have to do a bigger one for the circle of fifths, I think. Okay, we want to do a circle of fifths today. Maybe let's start with the string types, right? So, oh, hi! Thanks for joining. Good to see you. You know what? We're gonna do a lyre.
Here's the definition of lyre.
We want old-fashioned lyre instrument. But yeah. And there's a lot of different styles on the lyre. guess the question is, do I want to do a more old-fashioned one or a more modern take on the lyre? Ooh, I might have to come back to this one actually, now that I'm looking at it. There's too many lyres. So lyres are ancient harps, and I think for me to do this justice, I'd have to do a variety. Maybe I'll just do a grouping of lyres. That could work. I think that's might be what I end up doing. I could kind of do a few different lyres. A Grecian lyre, Mesopotamian. Yeah, I think I might do that because the modern day version isn't always super accurate, but we have a lot of different versions, right? Thanks for joining, Astrobubble. I am excited. So let's come in here and we're going to just quickly sketch out the pencil version of this drawing. And then we'll pin it, and then we'll do paint over the top. Okay. So the ancient lyres had this big sound box in the bottom. And then typically had, so that's where it gets interesting. And this is actually why I love my instrument more than anything else. And what at the end of the day, it's the history of it that keeps me coming back to the harp. And that is just like what a diverse history it is. So with the harp, we have so many different designs. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'll pin it in a second and then you'll be able to see it better. Because I think the cool thing with it is the fact that like with the harp, we have this like interesting instrument because like your earliest versions were nothing but like a string strung between like typically like some sort of sound box and some stick. And they were very, very simple. And that was what we had for this beautiful instrument. And they were very simple, they weren't very loud. But then over time, they got more and more complicated. But I think what I love is the fact that like it's both an advanced instrument that's been around for millennia, but then at the same time, it also is this like kind of early instrument when it comes to like the way it developed, because it's also an instrument that like did change quite a bit. So we have lots of different versions of it throughout history. And then you have the I think we'll also do lyre sarcophagus, or at least some version of it. I really love a different angle. They only show it from that side, dang it. Oh, whatever, we could do this. But yeah, so I think that's one of the interesting things. So when it comes to the modern day version, it actually is quite recent. And you have basically 3 different modern day versions of a harp that we are most commonly played. Not that there aren't others, there's literally hundreds, but the kind of like categories that most people consider harps would be the lever harp, which is closest to like a Celtic. And so that would be things like so we call it the lever harp, but it is closest to like a Scottish or Irish harp. And this is a much more complicated lyre than I thought it was going to be. Oof. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so that, yeah, so with so we've got our Irish harps, Celtic harps, I guess you could say. And then we've got our okay, and then let's see, one more style of lyre. There we go. I just need one more lyre. I'm gonna finish up the picture. They're showing the same design over and over, but I know there were a lot of other designs. Aha. That one could be it. Yeah, that's the interesting thing, is basically it was whatever instrument just had a few strings and spread across everything. We're probably going to go with the one from the British Museum. That's the one that's associated with Egypt, because that one is a pretty cool instrument. Again, one of those like ancient instruments. Okay, so this one is fun because I have this little hole. This little cow, and I have a little beard. But yeah, they were kind of fun. Okay, so now I feel like we have enough going on here. Okay, let's try inking this now. Here we go, my dudes. Strings. Ah, guys, look at me. Okay, they're not perfect, but they work. Okay, let's a little more on this one. There we go. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Okay, what do you think, guys? But yeah, so modern day harps are interesting because we have those little Celtic harps. That have like Irish and Scottish origins. So those are our tiny to big harp variations that you see. Then we've got our pedal harps that are the big ones that are our French origin harps. So the French are the ones who developed the pedal harps, and that's kind of where they came out of. And for a very long time, and I'm talking like not really compared to the history of the harp, but modern day conventions, it was only in about the last 10 years that professionally other forms of the harp were kind of considered legitimate. There we go, guys. Look at that. Okay, so we've got a bunch of little lyres. I think this image is going to be fairly small because I don't want it to be the main thing. I think I want a bunch of levers to be our main thing. But there we go. So our first pin drawing of the day. And unfortunately, we're running short on time. But whatever, here we go. There we go. I think that works. Okay, so now this is where we can kind of get into a few other things. Okay, so the next thing we've got is something called harmonic markings. Harmonic marking on the harp. And harmonics are something where we pluck the string in a way that it sounds like it's an octave higher. So we do it like, so it has the same tone. It kind of has, it's also sometimes called a bell tone. But yeah, they're kind of cool. The harmonics, yeah, are very interesting. But I should not show the notation for it. But yeah, they're cool. So you can also do, so based on where you do the harmonic on the string, 'cause from a science perspective, you're making the string go from vibrating like, the way I explain it is like, instead of it being one vibration going like this, you're kind of breaking it up and making it vibrate like this, the way you're plucking. And as a result, you change the tone of it. Specifically, the most common one is the octave one, where you make it sound like it's one octave higher by just cutting the string in half, so you have to be exactly in the middle. But technically, there's multiple harmonics that you can do on it. So I think that's kind of the interesting thing, is like the way we can use harmonics. So and it's just a tiny second. You can also do it as double harmonics. Double harmonics are where you do two at the same time. I can't currently do them right now. I realized that in kind of a funny way when, the other day I was playing a piece for a performance, and I got surgery on my wrist about, I think we're going on like 5 or 6 weeks ago now. But what I hadn't realized is where you do double harmonics is you have to press in the lower part of your hand, which right now is a scar. And yeah, it was interesting because I wasn't expecting it. And yeah, so the note might have gotten a little bit wonky when I tried to do it, mostly because I'm prepared for it. So let's see. There's one more way to do harmonics, and that's the way that I'm looking up right now. I'll show you what the music looks like. So we've got, so Carlos Salcedo is one of the harpists that really did things. In a lot of ways, he kind of modernized the way that we do the harp in a lot of ways. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's not in this book where he does it. Although he uses a lot of harmonics. This is a song called Song of the Night. Beautiful piece. But let's see. Aha. Okay. So the other way that he shows harmonics are, I'm going to do it this way. So Salzado would do it this way, where he would do the harmonic. You would actually write it in where it was supposed to sound, not where you played it. So you would write in the note, and then one octave below, you would basically do a little diamond note on the actual string that you're supposed to do it on. So, yeah, interesting dude. I don't think it was the worst idea that he did it, but it is unfortunate because it's pretty common nowadays that we don't do it the Salzado way. We typically will not write it where it sounds. We do it on the string that we played on. So I think for most harpists, that's what makes more sense. Did those two on top of each other. Oops. We're gonna look at one more. Yeah, he uses harmonics in a lot of different things. Oh, I guess this book doesn't have any harmonics. There are not many. Maybe it's a later book. Oh, yep, there it is. But yeah, so he did a lot of harmonics. I think I've gotten them now. Oof. Not how I should have done that one. Yeah. There we go, guys. Yeah, it's a cool effect. Definitely one of those ones where you, as a harpist, kind of have to try to figure it out. Oof, I might have to change that in post. Okay, here we go, dudes. We're gonna do a little bit of this. Okay, so with my technical drawings, I've been liking doing kind of a base. Oh no. So the ink was not dry on that one. And then what I've been doing is I've been kind of doing a base coat of water. And then, let's see, harmonic wise, let's do this color. I'm gonna do this aquamarine blue. Oh, that is very bright. Let's see if we add in some of that. There we go. And then I gotta run off in a second. Not my best drawing, unfortunately. Okay, we're gonna come back for this. I gotta clean that. And then let's quickly okay, so we're gonna do just a little bit. Okay, guys, let's go in. We got this. Okay, let's get this. Okay, so we got a kind of a base coat down. Okay, so now we're gonna go like this. Okay. It's a little darker here. Okay. Okay, let's go for it. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's see. We're almost done for today. Oh, yeah, I don't have my water bottle and for my image one. Okay, well, my dudes, what did you say? It's my best art ever. Not a bad option though for quick. So, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys Monday. Bye.